Hello guys and welcome to another video of the World Championship. We are still in the semi-finals, and if we take a look at the current standings, we see still Centerpo versus Lawang 1-1. We saw those two matches, and it's also 1-0 between EnderWiggin and Weida. You also saw that match. That was quite a good one if I remember correctly. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. And we're going to take a look at the second game between EnderWiggin and Weida right now. EnderWiggin will have the first turn, and he just grabs the Engineering Genius, so pretty standard move. Let's also take a look at those leaders and wonders. We already saw the pyramids. We also see the Acropolis, and these players love their Acropolises. And what else do we have? Joan of Arc and Bach, no Marlene, Oceanliner and Suez, also Cook, Gandhi and Churchill, Red Cross, Napoleon, Barbarossa, but no Colosseum, Michelangelo. Alright, so Weida, what will he do? My move would probably be Homea Pyramids, but I guess he might not do that because he wants to keep the hope up to get the Acropolis. These players are so focused on the Acropolis at the moment that he won't even take the pyramids, and he gets punished maybe a little bit. The Acropolis doesn't come out. So EnderWiggin goes for Hammurabi, will start building on the pyramids, builds one extra mine. So pretty good start for him. Hammurabi and pyramids. His opponent can go for Moses, alright. He elects him, builds a mine, increases pop, so also pretty standard. Maybe he still wants to go for Stonehenge, maybe not, we will see next turn. But he could of course go for an early H1 wonder like the Magic Castle. But first, EnderWiggin will get the second Engineering Genius here as well. So this pyramids will be pretty cheap for him. Let's see what else he does. Increases pop, builds a lab, and pops again. Alright, to have that free population. I like that. And then next turn he can just easily finish the Engineering Genius. If he wants, you can even take the Magic Castle right after. And that would be a pretty strong start in my opinion. Let's see here what Weida can do to respond. There's an early printing press and Leonardo, but those cost a lot of civil actions and Weida doesn't have that many. First, he will open the development of markets. We'll build a lab. Grab the Stonehenge still, alright. Increase pop and start building on the Stonehenge. So we have the code, we have the iron, all on 2 civil actions. So those are some good techs that Weida could go for with the early signs of the Stonehenge. So we have to look out if EnderWiggin will go for one of these to deny them or just go for them himself. He will go for the code. We'll finish the pyramids then, meaning no Himeji Castle for him, but he takes Leonardo. Alright. Quite an early grab, maybe he didn't like the rest of the leaders that much. Apparently not a big Joan of Arc fan or Saladin, or just saying Leonardo's pretty good when he's in the right moment. Could get the extra rocks just with Code of Laws. With the second philosophy already built, he's probably looking for alchemies, but the good part, or the good thing about Hammurabi is you can keep him for quite some time. He's always going to be solid with the extra civil action, so we don't have to rush into Leonardo now. Development of warfare for Weida, and Weida can take him. EnderWiggin can also take him, so both get a free warrior, and Weida indeed will go for the iron here. Can develop one, increase one, and then increase pop to get out of corruption. So using some of the extra signs that he just got by building the Stonehenge. That's probably also why he built that one stage. So he would have 5 science and would have all the civil actions to go for the iron. So that worked out perfectly for him here. Next turn he can upgrade the rest of them, and then still has a lot of science to be gained from the Stonehenge. So his start is also pretty good. Early irons, always pretty strong. EnderWiggin will increase pop. He will go for printing presses. Do we have synergy for those? I mean, besides Leonardo. I guess Darwin, but Darwin is the only one, so not the best game for printing presses. But he will still go for them, develops that, builds one, grabs the masonry as well, so with some cheap techs. I mean, his biggest problem will be population and happy faces at this point, wanting to put extra population into the printing presses. He also has not taken the free warrior. That is crazy. He could have taken him, but then he couldn't have built the extra printing press. So this feels like not the right thing to do. Going for too much population in these science buildings. I mean, sure, science is pretty strong. This is gonna be very good for EnderWiggin with the printing press, but it takes up so much of his population that it seems like Weida, if he wants to, he could try to punish this. Could try to go for Joan of Arc, maybe Knights with the science. He can get extra population thanks to Moses and gets the happy face from Stonehenge. So if military is going to be a thing, Weida will have a big advantage in population and rocks. So yeah, feels greedy from EnderWiggin, but it is the meta at the moment to be maximum greedy. Going all the population, don't put any population into military, not even take the free warrior, because you want your population in printing presses or something like that. We will see if Weida will try to punish that. He first upgrades 1, increases population, builds a couple of sage, and does go for swordsmen. Swordsmen are now knights, but they are still swordsmen, so they're still military. A little bit, I mean, sure, next turn you can pop 1 more time, maybe go for Joan of Arc, maybe build a religion to get extra happy faces and the strength, and then go for swordsman. He's looking at quite a bit of strength. For example, if he has a legion or something, can just build 1 more swordsman, push that. So I would like to see that. Weida using his extra population, his free warrior, to punish EnderWiggin, who will go for drama of all things. And for the Code of Laws, grabs the breakthrough and another breakthrough. He will actually take corruption for this. Gets a lot of extra signs with those 2 breakthroughs, taking him away from his opponent. Alchemy would have been a lot better, in my opinion, than the printing press. Even last turn, Alchemy was on 2. Sure, printing press was on 1. But the Alchemy could just upgrade the second one. Now he's stuck with his rocks, can't use them because he has no population. I mean, at least next turn he gets 1 more population out. But that one is not even really free, because he will lose 2 more yellow cubes at the end of the age. And then he needs 2 happy faces or idle workers to make up for that. So yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see how he manages that, but corruption here is not ideal. He has a lot of civil actions though. Weida first of all opens the development of politics. We'll go for Saladin, also fine. Don't have to go for Joan of Arc. We'll finish the Stonehenge and upgrade 1 more mine. He will release his tactic. That's maybe not why, or that's maybe why he didn't want to go for military this turn. He has only the swordsman, but he has a tactic with the knights, so he wants to go for knights instead. He will not increase population this turn with Moses, but he still has enough food to increase population next turn, so that is not an issue. And then he will have some free population. He will now probably take the civil action from Saladin. Yes, he does that. So he has a lot of signs in the bank, a lot of very good rock production. And we're actually going for wonder here. I mean, he can just develop the masonry to get extra rocks with Leonardo, and that gives him exactly enough rocks to just finish the Machu Picchu. He's still guaranteed to get the iron, but the first irrigation is out, the second one is still in, so he could also get the irrigation still. I mean, sure, is not bad. The question for me is if that is giving him something that he needs right now, which might be population. I mean, maybe I'm misreading Weida's play, and he will not try to punish this with military. But if he does, EnderWiggin might be in trouble, and then the Machu Picchu doesn't really help him with that. He will reveal a fighting band. But Weida can now go for those knights. And that would, I could also just deny the second irrigation, depending on how much value he sees in his opponent getting the irrigation or not. Let's see here what Weida does. He pushes extra signs for them. We'll have to see, yeah, we see the knights here. He will develop that, build 1, build the second one. He grabs the, okay, not a second one, he grabs the Forbidden City. Keeps enough rocks to be able to finish this next turn, so if you build another knight, he couldn't have finished that. And maybe, I mean, he maybe has no cards to push or to play, maybe he doesn't want to spend all of his MAs, and he's stronger by a lot now anyway. If he doesn't have an aggression, there's no need to build the knight. So yeah, I agree with this play. Just build the one knight, make sure you can finish the Forbidden City next turn. Even take the warfare for more military actions. And this of course also frees up population because you ignore the discontent workers. So you can easily build another knight. And then he's looking at a lot of strength with the warfare. And a lot of rocks still. Good civil actions thanks to Saladin and the Forbidden City. So I, at the moment, like Weida's position more. Let's see what EnderWiggin can do. Has to go for iron. I mean, he also had a tricky position here. I like that from Weida, that he didn't go for the irrigation or anything like that. Just leave iron and irrigation on 2. So now EnderWiggin, yeah, has to grab both, probably. Yeah, had to spend 4 civil actions to get these. It's still good, of course, with that much Pichu. But forcing your opponent to spend 4 civil actions on grabbing those 2 very, very important cards for him is a very good move. So nice play around the card row. And this also means EnderWiggin will stay pretty weak. I mean, he can go up to 3 thanks to the warrior. But he skips the knights for now. And we will see what Weida has pushed into the deck. He's pushed all of them, if this is not a bug in the replay. So maybe these will be punishing itself and he doesn't need to be much stronger. He will actually not push, maybe he didn't have anything to push, but this is big. One of the first cards out of the deck is the Conmon. He can go for that next turn. Will mean no Forbidden City this turn, but that is not a problem at all. He can just increase pop. Would even like to see the knight. Yeah, he does go for the knight, put on even more pressure, start building the Forbidden City. And then next turn is gonna look great. Can go for the Conmon and finish the Forbidden City. After that, he will be pretty low on science. But a couple of turns, and then he maybe can go for scientific method or something like that. So this is very big. And the strength, EnderWiggin still has to find a solution to somehow manage that. And Weida also has some problems, like food especially. Food and science production are pretty bad. But you can make up for that quite a bit if you get the Conmon, a lot of civil actions. So I still like his position quite a lot. EnderWiggin goes for Theocracy. I mean, he has some good synergies. He has the Pyramids and the Code of Laws, so not bad. He gets the 3rd MA, he gets a happy face, so frees up 1 population. Also helps with defending. So yeah, not a bad pickup for him. Maybe not as ideal, but I mean, you just saw the Conmon go to your opponent. You can't really rely on the Republic too much and going with Despotism into H3. I mean, there was also the Monarchy. He could have done that instead. But he himself decided the extra civil action, not worth that much when you already have 2 extra. He'd rather take the strength, the happy face and the culture here and save a little bit of science on top. Will now get his production up to speed with that with those upgrades and the Machu Picchu, of course. Very good production, especially food. Will give him a lot of population. So he's not looking bad at all, but now he's pretty weak if there's a war or an aggression or maybe punishing cards. But no. Weida doesn't have anything to push apparently. Yet again, so 2 turns in a row that he hasn't pushed anything. I mean, we don't know what this might be, if that would be bad for EnderWiggin or not. And Weida actually will go for a revolution here. He doesn't like to go down to 0 science and just says, alright, I have nothing that good to do this turn with my civil actions, I guess. I mean, I think finishing the Forbidden City would have been not bad. So I'm not sure if I like this revolution or if I wouldn't have liked it more to just spend the science, go for Forbidden City. I guess then the problem is, what do you do after that? He can still speculate on the Ocean Liner, but I don't think he could have done both in the same turn. Maybe this will set it up. Maybe this way he can finish the Forbidden City next turn and then still grab the Ocean Liner. That would be great. So we will see if he's planning for that. If that is his plan. And EnderWiggin increases pop, grabs the wave, upgrades even more of those iron, increases pop again. Yeah, he's still at happy faces, but when he gets his happy faces, he's now looking at a very good economy. The strength bonus that Weida had, I mean, hasn't done much. EnderWiggin had to build 1 warrior and I guess maybe go for the Theocracy. And that was enough. There has been no punishment for him at all. Weida at this point hasn't gotten anything out of these knights. So it was looking good for him. It's still not looking bad for him, especially with that Conmon and still a lot of rocks looking at the ocean liner now. So still not looking bad for him, but EnderWiggin at least didn't have any big problems with handling the strength, or hasn't been punished for not handling it at the moment. So Weida probably wants to go for ocean, and he could also just go for selective. But first we get the immigration. Both of them just the one happy face, so both of them get the extra pop. We'll finish the Forbidden City, go for Bach and the ocean liner. Alright, Bach, I mean, culture is looking 9 to 10, so very, very close, but we know how strong Bach is. Bach can just, yeah, maybe rebuild the philosophies, maybe not. He will have a lot of extra population with the ocean liner. But yeah, you don't really want to give your opponent Bach, especially if he already has the drama. EnderWiggin could easily rebuild the philosophies into dramas. So yeah, Bach goes to EnderWiggin. There's Darwin maybe for EnderWiggin. Sorry, Bach goes to Weida. Maybe EnderWiggin can go for Darwin if he also wants culture. Could make a switch into military, but probably not. Cook also isn't looking like he's gonna be good, so probably Darwin or Napoleon. And when will they come out? But first, EnderWiggin's turn. He goes for team sports. And yes, team sports can. Are we gonna see Napoleon or not? Breakthrough. Build one more team sports, one more printing press. So with here also has a lot of population now, especially with freeing all of the population up by going for the team sports, getting those happy faces. These are very cheap still. So 3 printing presses now. And increase pop. So no Napoleon for him. I mean, he's looking great if he gets Darwin. Darwin would be producing 5 culture. No downside from Darwin because he has no religions. And a 5 culture Darwin, I mean, that's hard to beat with Bach even. So yeah, EnderWiggin might be looking at the better of the H2 leaders. Weida now opens uncertain boards, so finally something that goes his way because of his military. So he gains the extra yellow cube. Will finish the ocean liner. Grabs strategy, alright. Increases pop for free. Builds 1 extra lab, he wants more science. I like that you have so much population, so why not just build an extra philosophy? So he has handled his population now with the ocean liner. He has good rocks now, but EnderWiggin still has more. He didn't, as I said, didn't get punished for investing a lot of his early rocks into the Machu Picchu. That was kind of slow, but he wasn't punished. And now his economy is pretty insane. 6 science, 8 rocks, and 6 food, thanks to the Machu Picchu. So Weida, can he keep up? His population is looking equal. With the ocean liner, can easily be compared to 6 food production. But his iron, I mean, he's only 2 rocks behind. He has extra civil actions for that. So overall, I would say it is a pretty close game. And at this point, I wouldn't know how to call it, who would win. I do prefer EnderWiggin a little bit now. First of all, we see him go for the drama, the rifleman. We'll develop the rifleman, go for the wave of nationalism, so he can build 1, upgrade 2, so he goes up to 13 strength. We'll build the drama, grab the breakthrough. He's gotten all the breakthroughs, by the way. He's gotten both H2 and H1 breakthroughs. That's a lot of extra science. So yeah, he's got a lot. He's got a lot of technologies. All of these techs give him extra rocks with a Leonardo even. So at the moment, I would say he is the better leader. Because Weida has enough civil actions. He doesn't need the extra civil action from Saladin, really. I would have even, if I was Weida, considered just develop Bach, or just elect Bach. 2 cultures better than just the one civil action at this moment. But maybe not. He keeps Bach in his hand for now. Maybe next time we're going to see him with those operas showing up. So Weida, now the weaker player, will develop Swordsman. We'll go for Bach as well. Opera. Rebuild one of those labs. So he built the lab last turn. and now just rebuilds it into the opera, so he still has 2 science production, upgrades 1 swordsman and another one. He will reveal his tactics, so he shows his classic army, something that EnderWiggin can also go for, because there's still a copy of cavalryman. So apparently it is very important for Weida to be stronger, so he knows what these 2 cards are, and he definitely wants to be stronger for those 2, so he will reveal his tactic. So yeah, that's all of his stuff gone. He can now go for urban growth, probably. Urban growth, efficient upgrade, and cannons as well. I mean, these urban growth and efficient upgrade are pretty good. As we said, he doesn't have as many rocks as his opponent, but rebuilding or just building new ones with the urban growth is going to be pretty good for him. So he's up to 7 culture production. And his opponent is still stuck with Leonardo, but there we see him. Darwin grabbed immediately, so 11 culture production now, all of a sudden, increased pop. He will grab those cavalrymen. I mean, then he has all the H2 tags. He can either go for his own tactic, he can just go for classic army, or he can even still hope for H3 tactics, because he has all of them enabled. So military is starting to become a little bit more important now. It was an early push from Weida, and then it kind of got stale. Not much happened, but EnderWiggin then started it by going for the rifleman, Weida following, and now grabbing the necessary text to go for military in H3. And what did we see besides that? Built an H1 farm. He built another farm. He wants more population. It's just so expensive. He will lose 2 more yellow cubes, so he will need 7 food per population. So this population making itself back, the irrigation, it's going to take 3.5 turns. And maybe there's colonies. Maybe there's colonies that will make the math here better for him. At this point, he doesn't even have the population. He doesn't even have the happy faces next turn. H3 starts. He loses 2 yellow cubes. He will need the population back somehow. So I don't know if the extra irrigation here really is the solution, or just using that population somewhere else and then start to look at destroying things. I mean, we will see. He will actually start destroying things right now. Builds 1 more rifleman, wants to be stronger. Will cost him 1 science and 1 culture production because of Darwin. The philosophy does produce the culture, but he's stronger now. Still 10 culture production. All right. H3 will start. Warfare is lost, but not a problem. Let's see, Weida here will build an extra farm, or has built an extra farm, will build a knight. Yeah, both of these players don't want to be weaker. We'll use the urban growth to rebuild the philosophy, and then next turn he maybe rebuilds that again into an opera with Bach. So always going for first for the little igloo, and then rebuilding that into the opera. Grabs a revolutionary idea, and then probably reserves and efficient upgrade. Architecture also works, and efficient upgrade. And scientific method. I mean, sure, could still go for that. Could still, with the revolutionary idea, he can go for architecture and scientific method next turn, then upgrade those with the efficient upgrades. It's not a bad plan. Architecture still looking pretty good. He only has this 1 opera, so he probably wants to build 2 more operas and maybe upgrade the philosophies through scientific methods, so this architecture can easily save 6, 8, maybe even 10 rocks. And then it's a very, very good architecture. And EnderWiggin goes for oil. Okay, he wants more stuff. Goes for oil. Upgrades 1. Destroys. Yeah, has to destroy another philosophy. Will build not a drama, but a team sports instead. So he gets stronger and gets all the happy faces. I mean, he still has 4 yellow cubes left. He will start to get new population next turn, and then even 1 more after that. So maybe it wasn't bad to go for the extra farm. The math works out that in 2 turns he will have 2 population, because next turn is going to have 10, then 14. 14 is enough for 2. Then maybe it would be time to destroy the irrigations, or at least 1 to regain the population. But for now, sure, if he gets 2 more population out in 2 turns, maybe that's worth it. Goes for Churchill as well. All right. I mean, he has a lot of rocks, still has population, can maybe go for new tactic. War, maybe, doesn't have the amaze yet, but we will see. Weida will go for the architecture, but not the scientific method at the moment. Rebuilds or builds yet another swordsman to be stronger once again. Reserves revolutionary idea and play that revolutionary idea number 1. So yeah, dance around these cards every time, every turn. Each player gets stronger by 2, so overtaking is their opponent. Yeah, we're gonna see if we finally at some point gonna see what is under. These are H1 cards, and the worst H1 card is out already, the Uncertain Borders. So what can that really be that is so important that you wouldn't push impact? So I think if these players start to get good impacts, they will start to push and don't care about whatever this might be. But yeah, and Weida gets yet another opera, goes up in culture to 11. Gets a couple of yellow cards into his hand. So yeah, not a bad turn. Still has the population. Looking at soon another army. But first, EnderWiggin grabs the space flight, develops cavalryman, increases pop once, builds one of those cavalrymen, upgrades one more oil. So does he have the classic army already? Sorry, the modern army already. The cavalryman that he's gone for could either be for modern army, or it could be to prepare to copy the classic army if he hasn't gotten a tactic himself yet. But going for the cavalryman before the cannon means he has no other tactic like positional army or entrenchments, or even from H2 he probably doesn't have defensive army. Alright, so he also has gotten the space side. He's developed a lot of H1 and H2 techs, so this probably isn't looking too bad for him. He doesn't have the high science production anymore, but yeah, probably still looking alright. And with those rocks, he will be easily able to finish that, and maybe even another wonder after that. So there's United Nations left. So with 14 rock production, of course, he has a lot of flexibility where he wants to spend those. If he gets one of the multimedias, he could easily upgrade his printing presses. And Weida will build yet another knight and a swordsman, so he does go and get a second tactic, going up to 32. Probably wants to deny the military theory, I think. Goes for chaplain. No military theory for him. Okay, I mean that does give a window for EnderWiggin. If he so chooses to take the military theory, will give him enough MAs to go for war. With Churchill and cannons and a new tactic, that could be dangerous. But Weida wants chaplain here, wants the engineering genius. Does have military build-up, so I mean he's ready to defend by going for 2 air forces, which is a lot of strength as well. So maybe he will be safe. Has built yet or upgraded yet another philosophy to opera, so 15 culture production from him. And still no politics. We're still not seeing any politics. No impacts in yet. But a cannon developed, not even with Churchill. He wants to keep getting the extra culture from Darwin. Increases pop, builds a cannon. And he does have a new tactic. Alright, he does have the modern army. Just needs one more cannon and cavalryman. Then he will fulfill that again. So, yeah, I think he's going to take the military theory and the revolutionary idea. Yeah. I think that was a mistake by Weida, not denying that easy military theory. That would have been an easy way to just say, you can't go for war at all. Now, EnderWiggin could declare war, develop military theory, build one more cavalryman and cannon. And that's going to be a lot of strength. We're going to see if it's going to be enough or not, but it definitely gives some problem into Weida. I mean, as I said, he can go for 2 air forces, and that is a lot of strength as well. But we're going to see who will end up with more, and if EnderWiggin will be able to go for war. Finally we're going to see what's on top here, and it is Reign of Terror. So Weida will lose his population. It's going to be the farm. And that's going to cost him, I mean, okay, he plays reserves to avoid the starvation. Still goes for scientific method. Grabs reserves. Okay, so probably just the scientific method to have hand space. And then maybe he has to upgrade one though if he wants to be able to go for air forces. Endowment. No. I mean, he's not ready for air forces this way. They just plan to go for strategy and then build yet another army? Interesting, very interesting. I mean, he has to see that a war might be coming. And will it come? That's the question. Not yet. We get another one. Scientific breakthrough. Okay, so Weida, that's why he planned that. Weida probably knew that was in there, and he knew that we didn't need more science because he would have 12 anyway, but we don't see the war regardless. So, EnderWiggin grabs multimedia. He says, I don't even need a war. Or maybe he doesn't have one. We'll go for multimedia. Finish the space flight. Elect Churchill. Play revolutionary idea. Alright, so yeah, going up a little bit in culture production, but not by that much. He has finished this first wonder. Red Cross is not... I guess it is maybe possible for EnderWiggin to go for Red Cross, but only 2 stages at this point. And I would assume that Weida will finish the age, even though we can't say that for certain. Weida will grab the air forces, develop one, build one. Is he planning to go for war? No, he can't. There's too many rocks in EnderWiggin's hand. He can easily just go for cavalryman and cannon. So I don't really understand what Weida's plan is here. Maybe he has to go for United Nations or something like that. I guess that would have been a problem. If he ends here, then EnderWiggin gets United Nations, but he doesn't have the civil actions for it. He would have to grab it for 6, and that's all. If it was 1 less, I mean, if it came out to number 2, then he could grab it and finish it thanks to the masonry. I don't know. I guess maybe Weida feels like if he ends it here, EnderWiggin still just has the advantage. I mean, let's find out what Weida's plan is. But the air force is here without even using the military build-up. And he still has the starvation problem. Oh, he did end. He did end. He wanted to be stronger and he wanted to end. So now H4 will start. And EnderWiggin will push yet another impact. We get economic progress. So EnderWiggin is super rich. As we said, he can't grab and finish the United Nations. Destroys 1 mine. Destroys 1 farm. Will go for the military, so 6 strength. Maybe there's going to be impact of strength or competition or something like that. Increases or upgrades multimedia number 1, or 2 and 3, I guess. So both of them finished. And that's going to be it. 109 culture for him. It's going to be quite close before impacts. Weida opens international agreement, but EnderWiggin doesn't have the time anymore to fulfill this. So Weida will build a religion, another religion, increase pop, use reserves for food. So he had big food problems, but thanks to 3 reserves, I think, that he has to use for food, he will manage without having starvation, always just using those reserves. Goes for science, so not enough science. So maybe balance? No, balance can't be it. I'm not sure what these are for, these scientific methods. It's not balance because there's only 1 food production. It's not science because EnderWiggin has 9. Architecture? Maybe architecture. So let's see those impacts. Pretty close before the impacts. 109 to 107. 12 to 4 from the bit of technology. Very good one for EnderWiggin to start us off. Culture 0 to 10, making it the maximum close. 121 to 121. Science back for EnderWiggin 10 to 0, and the last one is gonna be happiness 16 to 16. So pretty close, 147 to 137. Congratulations for EnderWiggin, very close game. And yeah, pretty great game to see. Yeah, I guess the biggest problem was probably that Weida wasn't able to push after he'd gone for those knights in the early game. Or that was one of the problems in the early game, where he invested into those knights, which I liked. I liked the move, trying to punish EnderWiggin for being greedy with those spring presses. But then not being able to follow up. He had 2 very strong events in there. He had the Reign of Terror and the Uncertain Borders in there, but he wasn't able to push those. So Reign of Terror especially, if EnderWiggin would have lost an early population when he had all his population in printing presses and so on, that would have been pretty bad for him. Same goes for his happy faces if he had gotten the uncertain borders earlier. So yeah, but a little bit unfortunate for Weida that he couldn't push there, but he didn't draw that many. That's the problem when you try to go for military with just the 2 military actions. So yeah. Yeah, interesting game. At the end, I mean, not a super culture fest. Military was also interesting. We didn't have a war, but a very long fight. Always building a little bit more. But yeah, Bach being defeated. Bach not being the king of culture because EnderWiggin had Darwin, and Darwin was also very, very good. So congratulations to EnderWiggin, who gets this deserved win and will go up to get yet another win. So 2-0 at this point. So he is looking very good at the moment. Weida would need to win all 3 other games that are left. So hopefully we get some more action between these 2 guys. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you had a lot of fun. We're soon gonna reach the conclusions of the semifinals. So if you don't want to miss those and don't want to miss the finals, of course, subscribe. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment. Always appreciate some good support. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video and see you guys next time.